Welcome back, my friends, said Thanos from Squid Games. But seriously, welcome back, all Boruto fans. Chapter 18 of 2 Blue Vortex is here. I'll be breaking down and reacting by voiceover and sharing my thoughts every step of the way. So grab your kunai and let's get into the action. Oh yeah!
And there's a change going on in this world right now, yeah.
And so we've got Matsuri. Really nice artwork. I'm really loving the artwork on these Magna covers here. So let's get to the next page here. We enter Sumeri. To start this off, she walks to the door, keypad there, enters the cool secret code that I'm sure everyone has had to touch at some point. So we go where we left off in the previous chapter, Kawaki just grabbing Amato, and then while Amato is kind of sweating here, Sumeri is Kawaki, and then Kawaki says, relax, Sumeri. I'm totally sane. It may look a tad violent, but we're just having a talk. Oh yeah, don't mind us. We're just having a civilized talk. Even though I'm grabbing him to the wall. Oh, that's funny. So then Sumeri has to witness this, and then Kawaki says, at this point, I don't care that you've been tinkering with my body like it's a toy. However, that ends now. I'll decide things from here on. Yeah, Kawaki, you tell him. For once, do something very important in this damn series. So we get a little bit more of a close-up, and let me zoom in a little bit more. Actually, the previous one was better. And so Kawaki then goes on with, change my settings, amp up my offensive power to the max. If you won't, then you're of no use to me, and I'll kill you. And Sumeri is, of course, surprised by this Kawaki. And then Kawaki, with this really serious look here, he says, I'm not kidding. Look into my eyes. You see that, right? All right, well, how romantic, Kawaki. All right, let's see how you get the L on this one. And then, let's see here. So we get some facial expressions from Amato. Looks like he's holding on to dear life. And wow, this is going to be so awesome when it becomes the anime. This is going to be really cool to look at. And then Kawaki, oops, let me zoom in on this panel. Kawaki says, choose your answer carefully if you want to keep living. And so Amato gives his own little stare there, like it's a staring contest. And then looks like, I'm going to guess this is going to be the shutdown code. I have a feeling, but we'll see. So Amato then says, only babble in your sleep, Kawaki. And so with that being said, does he go to sleep? And then looks like Kawaki's eyes widened and he is now on the ground.
You're hurting bad.
Let's go of Amato. And he certainly did take the L that we kind of expected to happen. Looks like he's been taking the L this entire series of 2 Blue Vortex. And then Amato, with Sumeri just watching this, Amato says, damn brat. And then Sumeri then says, looks like this is her inner monologue, a failsafe, just like with Delta, an emergency shutdown code. More like Luhu-zer. Amato then says, you have impeccable timing, Sumeri. Can you help me move him?
Garbage, yeah.
Like, since you're here, Sumeri, go ahead and just help me move his dumbass here.
That's exactly right.
And he is sleeping like the baby he is. And then we switch over to the rest of the team here. There is the Shinki clone Ryu with Sarada and Mitsuki, and then they're going to meet up with Araya, or Araya. I keep calling him Araya, but Araya, and then Yodo. Let's see what will happen here. I sense this is going to be more of a setup. We probably won't even get an actual battle until chapter 19 and 20. But it's still an important chapter. We still need to know how this gets set up. We're on page 9. Yodo and Araya is looking over. And then Mitsuki does the introduction here. It says, Ryu, meet Yodo, the girl on the left. And the one with Blave is Araya. And of course, just being polite here. Just really being polite. Hi there, said Araya. And Yodo is just giving like a bit of a death stare of some kind. And then Ryu says, is it my imagination or is she totally glaring at me?
I have trust issues now.
I mean, honestly, she does that with everybody, whether you're a friendly or an enemy, so it's universal. So anyway, and then Sarada says, oh, sorry, she's shy. It takes her time to warm up. And then looks like Araya is, looks like this is a little bit more of a whisper, or at least a more toned conversation between him and Yodo. He says, tone it down, Yodo. You're not a kid anymore. Yes, that's right, Yodo. You're a big kid now. Not to be confused with a certain commercial. But anyway, and then now we're back to Konohamaru with his Riz, or somewhat of his Riz, with the Moegi clone, Matsuri, and looks like based off of this, looks like they've been having a conversation for quite a while, and that's the situation. What do you think? And she has a big, big blush, and then Konohamaru says, well, I don't know if I get it completely, but at least you seem fine physically, and your color's good. Alrighty, some compliments there. Yeah, don't drop your guard. Please do not drop your guard. And then Matsuri, she then looks like her blush is starting to get a little bit more creepy now. It doesn't even look flattering anymore. It looks like it's starting to get on more of the creepy side here, but let's see what happens. If you've watched my Chapter 18 preview, just hours before the official release, I went over some theories and probabilities here, so be sure to check that out if you haven't. But anyway, to move on here, Matsuri says, I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, it seems like I was super nervous. But as we talked, I started feeling more and more normal. How could that be? I sense the naivety, playing the naivety game there. Oh, great. I'm not really liking this at all. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable now. So then Konohamaru says, maybe because we just met, it's not uncommon. And then Matsuri then says, I feel like I'm finally my true self, and I'm really enjoying talking to you. And then Konohamaru says, I see, I guess that's a good thing, eh? And then we're at the lower panel. Still a blush, but the way she looks at him, it's not really a romantic look. It's like I'm ready to actually betray you here. She then says, would it be okay if I called you Konohamaru-chan? And then we move on with now we're at page 12. And so we now have a flashback of when Konohamaru and Moegi were kids. Looks like this is really going to be a good anime episode here. I can feel it when that time comes. So we get some inner dialogue here. Hey, are you listening, Konohamaru-chan? Come look, Konohamaru-chan. Over. This way, hurry. Konohamaru-chan. And it's like a progression from kids to grown kids, and now like teens, almost the young adult age there. And then Konohamaru, he has this facial expression like he is actually starting to get uncomfortable, so maybe he's catching on that this is possibly a trap. So I hope he's perceptive like that. If he makes the rookie mistake to let his guard down, I'll actually be really making fun of him for the rest of the series for really being an amateur. But anyway. And so we got Matsuri. She says, what's the matter? And the blush is still on. But man, those Renegon eyes really make the blush creepy, like something out of a horror movie. And then Konohamaru then responds with, nothing. We're at page 13 here. So the Shinki clone, Ryu, it's like he is talking, so he says, so where is it, this clue that might lead to that Boruto guy? You said you saw something around here, right? And then looks like Sarada says, and then looks like this is like her own thoughts here. She says, oh, right. We did, didn't we? That would be, and then looks like Ryu starts using his Iron Sand ability here, like his sensory type of technique that Shinki used. So, that's actually really cool to look at. Can't wait for this to be in the anime. So now with page 14, Ryu, what are you doing? Says Sarada. And then Ryu then says, oh, this. I'm spreading iron sand around. It's my detection ability. I learn a lot of things using it. So just exactly like Shinki. Okay. Looks like Mitsuki, with his serious face, he's witnessing this, taking observation. I know with Mitsuki, he's quite an observant fella, so I would expect him to really analyze him closely, because I really foresee a one-on-one fight with this guy eventually. Of course, that's going to be a different video for another time. And then Shinki then says, I'm going to poke around this area a bit. If Boruto is anywhere nearby, I'll find him real quick. Now we're at page 15. And so Ryu then stares directly at Yodo. He says, huh? And looks like the iron sand kind of dissipates around her. Is that her genjutsu? Her sound genjutsu? We'll see. So then Ryu then says, what a mighty bloodlust you've got, Ms. Yodo. Oh wow, he can sense something within her. Oh man, you don't really have a good poker face, Yodo. Alright, so let's see what happens. So Shinki then says, I was right about you. Your bloodlust is off the charts. Now we're at page 16. She's really just giving that glare. And then she then says, don't let it bother you. I'm always like this. All of us ninja are. Yeah, but you're not putting up a good poker face. He's going to suspect something, so let's see what happens. So, Ryu is just staring back down with his Rinnegan eyes. Mitsuki is observing all of this, and then he says, hey, Ryu, can I ask you something? And this gets Ryu's attention here. Page 17, see, Mitsuki now says, Konoha Village considers Boruto a criminal. That's why we're hunting him down. Why are you guys looking for him? Which is true. That's not a lie at all, so that is truthful. And Sarada, of course, is witnessing this, and she seems a bit nervous herself. So you can almost sense the tension among the members here, except Araya. Araya seems to be still cool-headed, but then again, he's wearing that mask, so it's kind of difficult to read him. But in my Chapter 18 preview video, looks like I'm right about Araya, I'm sorry. Looks like I was kind of right about him having a cool head, cool temperedness. Ryu then stares back and he says, honestly, I don't totally understand it myself, but he apparently knows too much about stuff, like the Thorn Bulbs. And then Sarada says, Thorn Bulbs? Like, kind of pretending to be curious, but of course, all of these members know exactly what the Thorn Bulb is in their intelligence briefing off screen. So then, Chapter 18, the Shinki clone, Ryu says, yeah, a lot of other things too. He's become rather inconvenient for us, so Elder Jura decided to kill him. And then Sarada says, just playing the naive card for a moment, just pretending, she says, Thorn Bulbs. I think I remember Boruto mentioning those. And wait a second. Why would she just outright mention that? Oh, great. Is she slipping up too? Damn. Team 7, you're all amateurs.
Garbage, yeah.
Well, anyway, Mitsuki kind of takes notice of this. And then, well, actually, maybe this will develop. Maybe this is setting up something. Sarada then says, hey, Ryu, maybe we can use one as bait to lure Boruto out. What do you think? And Yodo takes notice of this. Ryu's still kind of just pondering this idea. But let's take a moment. I think she might have messed up by saying, I think I remember Boruto mentioning those. It's like, wait a second. If he's like an enemy of Konoha, the Hidden Leaf, then why would he just outright mention that to you? Oh, I have a feeling that might be an error, but we'll see how this develops. So, 19. Looks like Kwaki is awake. Alright, that actually was not too long.
Garbage, yeah.
Not sure if that was a few minutes or a few hours. We'll just assume it's a few minutes. So, with that being said, he wakes up from his nappy nap, from taking the L again, and then Amato has his desk. And then Kawaki then, he's like glaring at Amato, and Amato has to respond with, don't flip out, Kawaki. Let's have a civil talk.
We're nothing but garbage.
Yes, let's talk like men, not like teenage boys that just want to push each other into a locker and fight. And then Sumri, of course, is witness to all of this. So Sumri is like the expert witness throughout this entire series. And then we're on page 20. Amato then says, I do hear your point. The divine trees are definitely a threat, and I did not foresee their emergence at all. Yamato then says, I will have to modify your ability settings to a fully offensive power form in order to stand up to them. Regular Kawaki stare of, maybe not the stare of death, but more like the stare of, okay, I acknowledge this, let's make this shit happen.
Yeah, all conversation I'll put aside right now, you know what I mean?
So then Yamato says, looks like there's a condition here, so what he's gonna say, but only on one condition. And it looks like Delta is in her chamber sleeping. Okay, maybe we're gonna get some involvement with Kawaki and Delta. I mean, I kind of was having a little chat with Chat GPT about this possibility, and maybe this possibility might actually come true, but not this chapter, of course, probably later chapters. And so now we're on page 21. We've got Delta in her chamber getting her beauty sleep. Unless that's, that's Delta. I had to double check to make sure it is who it is. And Kawaki then listens. Oh, okay, so we reveal that's not even Delta. So Yamato then says, that's not Delta. She's a separate, fresh clone body I prepared for Akabe to inhabit. Resurrection vessel. Okay, I thought she looked a little different. That's why I had to kind of just glance at that panel, because Delta usually has some kind of marking on her forehead. So, okay. So I kind of was right the first time. I kind of just self-doubted myself. But anyway, we got that confirmation. That's a Akabe's clone body for her to inhabit come the New Testament of Resurrection. So now we are at page 22. Yamato then says, all I need for you to implant this vessel with a karma, and my daughter can be reborn. Resurrection using Akabe's data, which I added to your karma, will result in her existing in this world once more. So Kawaki is paying close attention, so is Sumri, just being the eyewitness to all of this throughout the entire series. And so, we get Akabe, not Delta, and Yamato continues to talk. He says, I failed at recreating her soul time after time, because it's an act permitted only to gods. Yeah, you're one to talk, Yamato. You're trying to play God here, bringing out the New Testament of the Bible here. But anyway, so then Yamato says, everything I've done up until now, it's all been for this. And this is my one and only purpose in life. All right, we're going hard with these goals here in 2025. All right, so page 23. Yamato is still talking here, and then he then goes on and says, help me achieve this divine feat, only possible by the karma. Please, I beg you, Kawaki. Alright, and then we've got Kawaki. Looks like we get a bit of a, maybe not a death stare, but a stare of, I'm listening, but not sure how to really wrap my head around this quite yet. And then Yamato then says, that's it. That's my condition. Right? Then there's Sumri being the eyewitness here. Kawaki hasn't said anything yet. Maybe he'll say something in this next page or upcoming pages. We'll see. Right, page 24. Kawaki then says, I'll say this again. If your revived daughter turns out to be an Otosuki, I will kill it. No exceptions. Alright, he decided to stand on business on that quote-unquote condition. Alright, so then Yamato then says, in the unlikely event Akabe truly happens to resurrect as an Otosuki, fine. You can do as you please, though I'll fight you with everything I've got. And of course, Sumri is just witnessing this. She hasn't said anything in several pages here. I really hope in the anime they give her a little bit more of a talking role. Even if they have to like retcon, well, maybe not retcon, they don't have to retcon, they can just add like an additional line or two. I feel that her just standing there, it's just awkward. They really need to do more with her. Otherwise, what's the point? So then, to continue chapter 18 on page 25, Kawaki then says, Yamato, I can't accept your terms. Then Yamato says, what? And then now Kawaki is going to stand even more on business. I might have to just consider this like a soft W here for him. But anyway, he says, powering me up comes first. I'm not interested in creating something that might become a new enemy right now. And then Yamato has to have his little rebuttal, and then he says, Kawaki, please, just hear me out. And then Kawaki then says, the sequence of events is the issue. Look, I swear that I will implant a karma in that clone, on the premise that I might kill her right away, but only after all our current foes are wiped out. Okay, you know what? I can see the logic in that. Like, there are more important things that need to be handled right now. Resurrecting your daughter, can really be last. Unless your daughter's gonna have like some kind of superpowered jutsu to help out and pitch in, I think the resurrection, the New Testament here, can just wait.
I am the champ!
So I actually have to agree with Kawaki on this. Although the killing part, just blindly killing, you need to learn to be diplomatic, Kawaki. But anyway, page 26 now of chapter 18. So then Amato is really insisting on this. Man, he's like pushing hard for his own case here. So he says, listen, Kawaki, you're currently endowed with near immortal defensive and recuperative powers. If I redirect all to offensive power, I can't guarantee your survival. If those bastards manage to kill you, my dreams die too. Oh, okay, so there is no clean deal here. Sure, I'll give you all the offensive power, but it's going to come a cost at your defense. So, okay, this is actually making sense why he's been taking the L. He has no offensive power, only defensive power. Oh, great, that makes too much sense. So then Kawaki then says, hey, what I want isn't a guarantee of survival. It's the potential to kill them. And then here he really just puts the nail in the coffin, so to speak, as a figure of speech. He says, so quit worrying about my welfare, Amato. I'm telling you, to make me an even bigger, badder monster than them. All right, yeah, that's quite logical. I mean, if you're going to go up these Shinju that are just a walking cheat code, that have coats, belt mark. I mean, you gotta bring all the firepower at this point. So honestly, Amato, you are in a pinch position because Kawaki cannot continue to play defense forever. He has to pitch in here and help out. So then now we're at page 27, and then once again, just Simri just staring and witnessing all of this. And then Kawaki says, use any means, whether scientific or otherwise, to make me stronger beyond all limits. Divine Trees, Code, and Boruto. You'll only reunite with your daughter after I slaughter them all. And then looks like Amato has a facial expression of all expressions, a bit disappointed and shocked. It's almost like he was really counting on Kawaki to be cooperative, but he should know better. Kawaki has never been that fully cooperative. So let's get real, Amato. I think you're a bit delusional. So now on page 28, we're back to Matsuri. I think at this point she really has been faking her blush, but we'll just see what happens. So then she says, this is the best day of my life to talk so much with you, Konohamaru-chan. Looking at the facial expression of Konohamaru, I think he's feeling a bit nervous, and maybe he's starting to get that feeling that this is all some kind of facade or ruse. But, we'll see. Maybe he actually is going to be smart about this, but let's see what happens. Matsuri then says, well, not that I've been alive for very long, but still, I'm so happy, Konohamaru-chan. Well, and then Konohamaru then says, wait, hold on. This gets her attention here, and then Konohamaru then has to ask, I'm so sorry, but could you not call me that? So it looks like he is getting very uncomfortable. I think he's starting to see through this that I know you're a clone of her, but you're not her at all.
I remember what you said!
He's really putting a boundary there, an invisible boundary that, hey, it's not cool to call me that. Only one person is allowed to call me that, and right now they're a tree. So, okay, I'm happy for this result here. Okay. So then, Matsuri then says, why? What's wrong?
What you said!
And then Konohamaru says,
What you said!
There's only one person who calls me that.
Peek down.
And just as I figured there, she then looks, and then Konohamaru says, so you see, it surprises me too, but
What you said!
It's giving me goosebumps. And it looks like he's blushing a little bit at that moment. And then he then says, you don't mind, do you? Calling me just Konohamaru?
What are you gonna do?
Well, at least he established a boundary that, hey, you cannot call me that. Only one person has ever called me that, and they're a tree. No thanks to you. And so it looks like the blush has turned off from Matsuri. And okay, this is getting creepy, looking at her eyes, and yeah, that blush is completely turned off like a switch there. So then this actually gets Konohamaru to really stare back down here, and then she then says, only one person? And who's that? And it looks like this gives Konohamaru that uncomfortable embarrassment facial expression. He says, oh, don't read too much into it. Now for page 31, and Matsuri says, you wouldn't happen to be referring to Katsa Matsuri Moegi, would you? She knows her complete name. All right. So then Konohamaru, of course, has to give his facial reaction. And then Matsuri then counters with, I'm right, aren't I? So, what is that woman to you exactly? Man, this is like a really creepy face from her. She went all blushy feeling like some kind of teenage girl with a crush to now a vile woman that's ready to pounce, and not in a pleasurable way, as in like she's ready to devour her prey.
Just like a woman.
So then, looks like some jealousy, just like a woman, has ignited here, and then looks like her little, her tree vines, I want to call them, they kind of extend out here, and then she says, answer me, Saratobi Konohamaru. Jealous much? Jeez. You were like literally born only like a few minutes ago or a day ago, and you're already jealous? Jeez. So then Konohamaru looks like he's now a bit shocked here. That he might actually either get devoured or attacked. All right, let's see what happens on this next page. Page 33. So then, the Shinki clone Ryu says, I see. Used the Thorn Bulb as bait. That's some super smart thinking. And he just pops one out like a damn vending machine. Okay. Mitsuki watches this, since he's like the closest here. I'm hoping that's not going to be like an Iron Sand clone, because I have some suspicions that he might have just cloned one just to play with the team, but we'll see what happens here. So then, look at that alien potato fruit, as I've been calling it. The alien potato fruit has been revealed. Hopefully it's not made of sand. So then, we got page 34, and that Thorn Bulb is just floating in the air. The alien potato fruit is just floating. Okay. They can just levitate like that. But then again, if I remember correctly, since Ryu is a copy of Shinki, he has that magnetic release, so he could technically levitate things. Technically, I guess. I still have to do a little bit more research on his abilities over time, but he has some kind of levitation ability, so to speak, so, this is not impossible either. And so Sarada naturally has to think to herself, a Thorn Bulb, just like the one I saw before. And then Yodo and Araya witness this there, and Araya says, so that's the alien potato fruit. So page 35, and then of course Yodo reacts to this as well, a Thorn Bulb. And then Ryu then says, now then, let's see if they bite. And so it looks like Araya, looks like he takes notice of something, and he looks directly at Yodo. Crunch! And then he says, Yodo, no! Oh, looks like it triggers her to start attacking. Okay, just like what was kind of revealed in some previews and spoilers. So it looks like she's in an attack position here, so let's see if she actually does attack. Let's see page 36, and she naturally just goes after, and oh my god, what an amateur. So yeah, she goes after the alien potato fruit Thorn Bulb there, and Araya, Sarada witnessing this amateur hour. Yep, a lot of rookie mistakes already. I mean, I kind of expected this, but then now we have Sarada, Mitsuki. They witness Yodo, that's going to epically fail in grabbing this. Page 37. Looks like Yodo has now been grabbed by the iron sand, if you can look at that clearly there. And then Ryu says, heh, got you. I thought that this might be the case. So yeah, him acting naive was all ploy. Yep, it's been confirmed.
I have trust issues now.
And so Mitsuki then says he's not as dumb as he acts. And then now Mitsuki is now getting surrounded by the iron sand, so, the tables have turned, or the turntables have turned, however you want to phrase it. Now we're at page 38. It does look like Araya is about to be grabbed by the sand as well. So is Sarada, and then she notices Ryu's iron sand. It's coating our entire bodies. And then Ryu says, that's so low, dear shinobi friends. Your betrayal is going to give me serious trauma.
Trust issues.
Ryu then says, I think you need to be punished. I will say that Ryu has a little bit more of a personality than Shinki does. I felt like Shinki was very reserved, which nothing wrong with him being reserved, but I feel that Ryu has been quite an interesting fellow there. So, and then now, of course, I gotta end this panel here that looks like Sarada is busting out her kunai, but of course that iron sand is levitating around her as well, and then Yodo is like floating. Really, she's like floating like a balloon here. Page 39. And so Sarada then says to herself, my body's moving on its own. Yep, that's that magnet release. And so, just like Shinki, he has his hands in his pockets, not really doing much except just letting the iron sand do all the work. And then Sarada then charges in, more like she jumps vertically to try to escape the iron sand. And it looks like she's going straight to Yodo to try to free her. Then Mitsuki says, it's the iron sand. We're all being manipulated by it. Just like puppets. Yep, it's the puppeteering there, although I didn't really review that in my preview, but I kind of figured something that was eventually going to happen. He's done it in the anime. Not sure if at least Shinki has done it at least in the anime. Not sure about the manga. I would have to research that at a later time. But yeah, they are now marionette puppets from the Iron Sand. How unfortunate. So then page 40. And let's see what happens here. Look, we have like this big wave in the background. Looks like there's the iron sand that's dissipated. Oh, is this like a slashing technique that happens? Huh, okay. So then this kind of surprises Ryu. The iron sand starting to dissipate and lose control of their bodies. And Sarada notices this and says, I'm back in control. The iron sand was dispelled. And so I suspect it's Araya that does this because he's the only one that even has a sword on this team here. So we go to page 41. So this Araya, he says, lodestone, sand, sealing blade. Oh, cool. And then looks like there's some confirmation here that this is a jutsu that Araya has had in his back pocket. He says, Shinki, I never thought I'd have to use this jutsu that I created for us in this way. Shinki, will you lend us a hand too with this battle? And then Ryu reacts here, what the heck? That's so not fair. And so, to be continued. Alright, so I was trying to do research on Araya's abilities. I really only knew of the puppeteering that he did in the Chunin exams and just normal kinjutsu, so this is definitely new to me. I'm not sure if he's had this all along, but this is definitely a new move, which I like. He basically did like a slashing technique from a distance, kind of like what Zoro in One Piece does. So this is really cool. This is really cool. It's nice to see some swords here. It's a little refreshing, and this is going to be a very great battle. So it's what I kind of expected based off of some of the previews and spoilers and just going over certain probabilities and combat effectiveness by utilizing Chat GPT. Be sure to watch that Chapter 18 preview where I go over probabilities and possibilities of what could happen not only in Chapter 18, but even future chapters. So you'll probably see that linked somewhere on this video. Of course, I have a dedicated playlist specifically for the 2 Blue Vortex of Boruto, so if you ever miss one of my chapter commentary, voiceover reactions, there's a dedicated playlist for that. I always try to link them in every single Boruto video. And so I want to just thank everyone who managed to sit through the voiceover reaction and some paneling here. Of course, due to copyright reasons, I cannot ever show every single panel, but I always try to show you the good stuff. So once again, thanks for joining me for Chapter 18. Only babble in your sleep. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, click that bell notification so you don't miss out. And until next time, same Hansen King content, same Nerdy Bear reactions. Ooh yeah! Dig it!
Welcome to the big time, because we're already here.